For most of us, we have busy lives, and when we want to try and make the world a better place, it seems overwhelming or gets put back on the back burner, right? But the man I'm about to introduce to you didn't let anything get in his way of helping others. He overcame a great loss, a tragedy that he turned into a way to help others. Richard Nares lost his son Emilio to cancer back in 2000. That's when he started a program that's helping children with cancer all across our San Diego County. I'd now like to welcome Richard Nares to the show to talk about how he's helping children and his nomination for the CNN Hero Award. First of all, I want to say congratulations for the award,
well,
and you deserve it.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry for your loss, and I want to thank you for all that you do for San Diegans. Great. But before we get into the award and before we get into the foundation you started that came into fruition because of your tragedy, let's take myself and the viewers to your life before your son Emilio was diagnosed with cancer. What was your life like? Take us through that journey of what your family went through.
Sure. You know, my wife and I, Diane, we got married late in life. I'll say 40, 40-ish. And so we were very blessed to have Emilio. And he was our only child. So like most parents, he became the center of our universe. He was everything to us. And we had the perfect life. You know, being in your 40s, we had a great job, we have a home, had everything that parents want. When they have their child, it's perfect. So we lived the American dream for almost 2.5 years. And then shortly before his 3rd birthday, we got the news that he had cancer. And at that point, your world is totally upside down.
How did you know? I mean, what were the symptoms at that point?
Well, that's a good question because parents don't know what to look for. You really don't, because cancer is not something you expect or prepare for. Emilio had like a fever for a week, and he just entered preschool. And we checked with our doctor, and he said, you know, every kid has germs, so don't worry, it's just probably a cold. So we said, okay, you know, we went with that. And then the 2nd week, he had a quick fever again, and it went away, and we called the doctor again. And he says, don't worry, it's just preschool. But by the 3rd week, all of a sudden bruises came and appeared all over his legs, just black spots. And I was like,
did you think abuse? Did you think somebody was
we
beating
we didn't know what was happening because the woman that was taking care of him, I said she couldn't be beating him. You know, we had a date.
Even though that does happen.
That does happen, and we were stunned, and so we called the doctor immediately. He said, now he has bruises. So he said, bring him right in. Bring him right into the hospital, right into his office. So we went that morning to his office, and he said, I'm gonna run some tests, and then I'll call you back in the afternoon. So Diane and I went back to work. She took Emilio home, and about 4 o'clock, I got a phone call from Diane. She said, we got to bring Emilio back to the doctor's office. And I remember very distinctly when she picked me up from work to take Emilio to the doctor's office, said, well, what could be possibly that bad that he has to see him again? You know, we didn't think. So we keep thinking what it could possibly be. So we get to his office, and as soon as we open the door to his office, his receptionist is crying. I said, uh-oh, this is not good. His receptionist crying. I said, boy, this is not good at all. So when we open the door, she lets us in to see our doctor, and he's got tears rolling down his eyes.
The doctor? Wow. And what are your thoughts at that point?
And then we're just like stunned. I mean,
you knew it was to get bad news,
really
obviously.
bad. And he said, your child has cancer. And you know, you hear the words, but you don't really know what they mean. I mean, you know it's terrible, and you just can't comprehend that. And so we were like in shock.
What type of cancer?
He had the most common type, which is ALL, which is acute lymphoblastic leukemia. And so he said, I signed you, we got a room immediately, you go right to the hospital, right across the street, and they're expecting you. Just like that. You know, we took him right across the street, they checked us in, they got him into a bedroom, they started trying to access to start giving him medicine right away. And he was screaming and kicking because he had never had anybody else touch him besides doctor once a year and stuff, and his parents. So he didn't like anybody else grabbing him and pulling him, and I had to hold him down on the bed. And it was awful because he was screaming for me to let him up. I said, I can't let you up. I have to hold you until they finish giving you these medicines. And
Was
so
it chemo at the time, or what was it?
they had an IV. It was just
Yeah.
an IV to get him started, and then the other medicine was coming, but I had to hold him down because he was just fighting to get up, and he was only 3. But he was just screaming in my ear.
He can't process what's happening.
No, and neither could we. I mean, we're both stunned, both crying, and we're all crying and trying to hold him down, and that was the beginning of our journey.
I'm a mother, so I can really feel what you went through. You know, God, I'm so sorry.
And you know, we had no clothes. We had not prepared to spend the night at the hospital, and our world immediately turned upside down.
Did he ever get released from the hospital, or did
In 30 days he did, because that's generally the time it takes for them to get back into remission. So gratefully he did. And then our 2.5-year journey started from there.
So he lived to be 5.5,
Almost 6, yeah.
almost 6.
Almost 6.
Was he in a lot of pain?
No, generally, you know, he handled his medicines pretty well. But like most children, he didn't get to do a lot of things that have cancer. I mean, we spent a lot of summers and a lot of summer days in the hospital. So you really feel that as a parent, that he can't be normal. Yeah, he was in and out of preschool when he could go.
Yeah.
And my wife's dream to get to kindergarten never happened. So, you know.
You had to watch your son die. What? I mean, that's a parent's worst nightmare.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I'm choked up.
No.
Wow, I just so sorry you had to go through that, and sorry your son Amelia had to go through that. But he did not die in vain, right? He inspired you to
Yeah,
help
absolutely.
everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Emilio inspired you to change other people's lives who are going through the same thing. You're
That's
making
right.
a big difference, and you started a foundation. He went from you having your own business
Right.
to just quitting, saying this isn't important anymore, and started a foundation. We're gonna take a quick break. I need some Kleenex. And we're gonna talk about what you're doing now and how other families will be forever touched because of you, because of Emilio, and about the CNN Award. We'll be right back.
Emilio protects me in the sense that he wants me to enjoy other kids, and that's why I feel his presence while I'm working and doing the things that we do at the foundation, and that there's a lot of joy, you know, and he really pushes me to make sure that I have that life, even though he's not here.